Hello, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's very sunny here in London today, which is not really common, so I'll take it. That's what I can say. And in today's video, I would like to talk about something that is the fact that a lot of people think that by implementing something today, they will see the success or the fruits of their effort tomorrow. And in fact, this is really prevalent in a lot of people's minds. And the reality is that the fruits of your effort, it's not at all the product of yesterday's efforts. It's the product of 6 months before, 1 year before, 2 years before, 6 years before. And a lot of people, because society these days is what dictates a little bit about like how people feel about this type of stuff, they want the results immediately, right? And that's not necessarily speaking how it works. Actually, it's not how it works at all. So how successful or how unsuccessful you are is not necessarily speaking the product of things that you did yesterday, but all the actions that you've been doing over the years, potentially a couple of years before, 3 years before. So it's the accumulation of all those actions that will dictate how successful or how unsuccessful something would be. And a lot of people don't correlate these two things, and I think that's really a problem because, that's basically, how everything works. You know what I mean? So if you put, for example, if you want to go to the gym, you don't go to the gym today and hoping that tomorrow, you lost like 20 pounds if that's what you want to do, or you are super buffed if that's what you want to do, right? It's accumulated and the discipline to keep doing things in a certain way and keep doing it no matter what, and choosing exactly what you want to do or what you have to do for you to accomplish those goals, right? So, when you don't do that, you are always looking at the end goal and forgetting about the process. And it's the process and everything that goes throughout the process in terms of like the decisions or indecisions or whatever it may be that will dictate over time what will be the actual outcome of that effort, right? And that takes time. And people forget that. That can take time. There's ways to cut corners in time, but you need the time to digest, to keep developing, and all of that kind of stuff will have a huge impact on what will be the outcome, what will be like the fruits of your efforts after a certain period of time, right? And what happens is, if you don't take daily actions, as I said before, towards this kind of objective, and let's assume that, which is basically what we talk about in this channel here, is like professional growth. If you don't take like little steps every day, and you are fed up because a certain difficulty came along, and now you are jaded, or you lost your passion, or you lost whatever it may be, and you stop doing this kind of stuff, well, over time, that stopping action will also have consequences, So that's why discipline is important, and the awareness of this situation is important, because you need to know that whatever you do will have an impact, not necessarily speaking tomorrow, but over time. Okay? So when you're talking about like professional development, professional growth, if you don't do that, after a certain point, it will lead to stagnation, lack of progress, right? And it can also lead to missed opportunities along the way because you just stopped doing whatever, you were doing before. So probably you will also be prevented of meeting people that will help you like turn the corner in your difficulty, for example. You know what I mean? So over time, if you stop doing these things, or if you are constantly seeking immediate gratification for the effort that you put yesterday, hoping that this will come tomorrow, well, you're gonna have like a hard time, because you're gonna feel dissatisfaction about like everything that you do, and you're gonna feel unfulfilled, right? Because you are only looking at tomorrow's gratification, but it doesn't work like that, right? You need to be consistent and keep that consistency over a certain period of time for you to extract the results, but that doesn't come tomorrow necessarily speaking, as I was saying before, right? Alongside to what I just mentioned is also the paramount importance of the awareness of whether or not the actions that you are putting in practice are actually the ones that will give you the fruits that you are expecting, right? Even if you think, okay, I'll wait like 6 months on the line or 3 months on the line or whatever it may be, right? Because if you don't know whether or not you're choosing the right things, well, it can be exactly the opposite. You can constantly putting wrong steps after steps after steps after steps, and the results don't come. Although you are telling to yourself, "I'll wait a little bit more time. It's still a bit too soon." Even if you fight against that kind of stuff, if you keep putting the wrong steps in place and you don't have that awareness, well, maybe that's exactly where the problem is, right? So that's why it's important to keep like seeking, the support through like-minded people, mentors. Don't stop that pursuit, and don't think that you know it all, and don't think that just because you have like this amount of experience, you know better, because the world keeps changing. You know what I mean? So you're not alone in that kind of quest, and you don't do anything alone, by the way, right? So the most successful people, if you think about it, inside or outside the realm of VFX, anything that you look up to, any biography that you can read about, like one of these people that you look up to or that you know about, you'll see that all of them had help along the way, with not help as in like, okay, I'll give you like the money that you need, or the opportunities that you need, and you stop having problems. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is like, through the process of getting better and trying to get better and trying to get to their goals, through that process, they met people that helped them along the way with small things, but they had the awareness of extracting or accepting the help in the right places from this person. The same happened from this other person, and they also gave back to that person, which is how society works, right? But if you stop doing this pursuit, or if you think that just because you've been doing this for a long time, you don't have to have this awareness of this type of interactions with people, then you are making your life very, very hard. So again, what I'm trying to get at here, as I said in the beginning, is your success is not the product of yesterday's actions. It's the consistency that you are putting in place, and the awareness of the choices that you are putting in place are actually the correct ones that will lead you to the end goal. Majority of people, they want the results now. It doesn't happen like that, right? But at the same time, even if you are fighting against this timing situation, if you lack the awareness of whether or not you're doing the right things, well, then you're gonna have like a really hard time keeping that, enthusiasm on always high, because it's very hard to keep your enthusiasm when you're not winning, and there's a limit. Some people can take that kind of stuff for 5 years, others 10 years, others 15 years, whatever it may be, but there will come a point, if things don't change, it's very hard, right? It's like, I don't know, a losing team, soccer team, for example, for those of you that like soccer, right? Or football. If this team is constantly losing, well, as much as the coach wants to put their spirits high, if they keep losing, it's very hard to keep them motivated, right? So probably they will lose the motivation, and probably they will have to make some, difficult decisions, maybe leaving that team to go to another team, perhaps, you know what I mean? Or seeking this other type of mentor, or in this case, coach, or whatever it may be, right? So it's very important that you need to have this awareness, you know what I mean? So what we help people with is exactly, first of all, even before anything else, having like a realignment of their mindset regarding all these things, their actions, how they see themselves, how they have been behaving towards themselves and towards others, because probably that's what's dictating how limited their further development will be. But for that to happen, they need to have that awareness first, you know what I mean? So how to solve this problem, right? So I would suggest that no matter where you are, start now, right? Start now as in like, having like a very honest conversation with yourself, and gaining the awareness of whether or not you are giving the time that you think you need to give in order for something to happen. And also, very important, to create the awareness or build the awareness of what are the actual things that you've been doing that you should receive the fruits from by now. And if you don't have the answers, or if you think you're doing everything well, maybe you're not doing everything well. because otherwise that won't be the case necessarily speaking, right? So try to speak with mentors, try to find someone that can look at your situation from outside to understand your situation as the real situation, as opposed to the bias that you have about yourself, because we all have our biases, right? So if you can have someone that look at your situation from an unbiased position, you will benefit greatly regarding that kind of stuff, right? That's exactly what we do. And once you have that, you need to create a schedule, a routine that incorporate these daily actions towards improving these skills for your success. Skills, knowledge, whatever it may be. And you need to do this in the things that matters, not about everything. Because if you're doing, like as we said before in other videos, about if you're putting your effort about knowing about everything that is surrounding you, then you don't have the focus. You don't have the focus, which means that you probably don't have a goal, which means that you don't have a strategy. So none of that works, right? So that's why it's so important to have this type of mentorship that basically guides you to the process, to say, okay, focus on this, don't focus on that, depending on what your goal is, right? But a lot of times what happens is we are the ones, putting this situation more difficult for ourselves because of our mindset that is biased in a lot of ways, right? Because we always think that we are right about, we'll be doing this in this way, so you should pay dividends in this way as well. Might not be the case, because you might put the wrong actions in place for your goal without you even knowing it, right? So that's why it's important, as I said before, to have someone external that will look at that situation from an unbiased position, right? And as important as everything that I'm saying here is, as I said before many times in this channel, is to try to be involved in a group of people, or with a group of people that think in the same way. They are going through the same difficulties. They are wanting to have the same desires, the same goals for their life. You know what I mean? Because that puts you like in a position of not comparing, necessarily speaking, with the ones that are below you. That from that perspective you are doing really well, but put you in a position of more understanding with people that are either ahead of you, which is probably where you want to be, or the ones that are in the same position that want the same thing. So you help each other to get there, and that's so important. And a lot of people miss that kind of stuff. So they are involved in this negativity all the time, perhaps, and life is hard, and people will bitch about this and bitch about that, and it's very also important to just blow off some of these thoughts that we have on our minds, of course, but that needs to we need to have a limit on how much we are doing that kind of stuff, because otherwise it will only be about that kind of stuff, right? So if you are involved in this group of people, you're going to become one of them if you stay there for a long time. So stay there even if you're not aware that you are there, but you need to create this awareness. And if you feel that you are amongst these people, maybe transition to a different group of people that will basically lift you up, as opposed to put you down in this negative bias and negative thoughts and all that kind of stuff, right? And in order for you to solve this, you need to put this consistently, this effort consistently, you know what I mean? And forget about any sort of excuses, because there's always excuses, as in like, it's not the right time, I don't have the money, if that change involves money, it's a lot of work, it's this, it's that. I mean, if you really want to solve a problem, solve the problem. Because if you don't solve the problem, you stay with the problem. It's as simple as this. It's like going to the doctor. It's as simple as this. You know what I mean? And so when you start doing this type of stuff, you'll see that your mindset will slowly change to something that it's perhaps new to you, and you start seeing the reality in a completely different way, in a more joyful way, because now you have been able to create consistency of actions and the awareness of the right actions to put in place that take you to the goal that you want. As simple as that, right? So consistency about this kind of stuff is key, and the awareness is super, super, super important. It's even more important. The awareness of the actions that you need to put in place to get to your desired goals. You know what I mean? So this is actually the type of stuff, amongst many other things, that we do, and we've been very successful of providing these results for our clients. And for those of you that don't know what we do, is we help very experienced professionals with a compositing background to attain and sustain leadership roles. And we do that very successfully, as I was saying. And you just, don't take my word for it. Just look at the description and all the testimonials and the results that people got. But what we do is exactly through a process of realignment. First of all, realignment of mindset, and then only after that you are ready to extract the learnings from a very specific point of view that will make possible for people to transition from where they are to where they want to be. So it's a very complete and deep process, a very thought out process that allows them to achieve that. And it's possible to achieve because, again, the results speaks for themselves, right? So it's like a partnership that we establish. So once we establish that we are the right partners for each other, we roll up our sleeves to provide all the support, all the value, all the tools that people need, but we need the other side to also do their bit, because otherwise it's not going to work, because if that's the case, it's not a partnership, right? So this is the type of stuff that I would like to talk to you today, which is the awareness that you have to have that the outcomes of your efforts are not the product of yesterday's actions, are the product of years of actions and decisions that you've been taking, okay? Even if you want the results super fast, it depends on what are the actions that you are putting in place to get the results faster. And that's also kind of stuff that we help people with. But it's important to be aware that this stuff takes time, also dependent on how biased you are about yourself. Okay? And there's a work that you need to do to remove certain bias so you are more able to receive the new reality that you need to have with yourself to achieve the things that you want to achieve. This is very important, very hard concept to grasp unless you are experiencing it, right? So if you need help with this kind of stuff for your career, if you have a compositing background, if you want to achieve leadership roles, or if you are already in leadership roles and you want to make your life better and your team's life better, just click below, watch a video in which I'll explain and give you the roadmap to get there. And at the end of it, you'll have the choice of booking a call, and then you'll have a call with a member of my team, and we'll see whether or not we are the right fit for each other. And if we are the right fit for each other, we will talk next steps. If not, we'll let you know as well, no problem at all. But I hope you liked it today, guys. And, be aware that what I said before, the outcome of your efforts, it's not the product of yesterday's actions. Okay? So I hope you liked it, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.